the Eastside Fantasy Football Podcast. Today is Tuesday, October 18th. I'm Nick Testoni, joined by my co-host, Joe Briner. Joe, we had a nice alumni weekend. The gang was all together. We got a picture. We should get that up on Twitter. Down at the baseball field. And for about 30 minutes before I had to leave for work, we were all in one place watching the games. And guess what? Let me just take a pause to hold for a second. Just glorious. I think I'm going to get a win this week.
Hell yes.
We'll get into it
Finally.
later, but it's looking really good that I'm going to get a win this week. And a lot of it was because in the dugout on Saturday, right before our alumni game started, I had my phone on me and I saw that Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines were out, so I picked up Deion Jackson.
Yeah, I was not around my phone at that point in time. I didn't even know. I might have been out in the field, to be honest, because I didn't know till later on.
Might have been hitting IO to the team.
Might have been. I don't know. But it was a great weekend. It was awesome having everybody together, the alumni game. Then we got to watch some football. A big group of us still got to watch football together on Sunday. I know you had to leave. Guess you're probably happy that you didn't have to watch most of the Ravens game because it's kind of what's been happening with them. But yeah, it was a great time. I told you before this that you're down by 0.7 right now. To Diego, and you have Jerry Jeudy and Brandon McManus to go tonight, Monday, because we are recording this on Monday. If they don't get 0.8 points for you, the season is over.
Cancel it.
The league is no more.
This
podcast may be no more.
That would be absurd.
Yeah.
Very possible. Jerry Jeudy
Never know.
Could run a route out of bounds and run into Brandon McManus on the sideline, and they both can get concussed.
They both get 0.
Besides that, Joe, it was a very fun weekend.
Yeah.
Good to see all the peeps. And you want to get into the news?
Yeah, we have a shitload of news, so let's get into
Ton
it.
of news. J.K. Dobbins did not play the second half versus the Giants due to knee tightness. Just not a good sign. He wasn't the workhorse as it was.
Kenyon Drake filled in, too, let me tell you.
Kenyon Drake had a great day on the ground. We'll get to it later, but didn't even have that many carries. There's very little optimism. Gus Edwards is we'll just skip to that down there. Gus Edwards has a possibility of returning this week.
Yep.
Harbaugh said, and also he said Bateman was close to return. So there's all your Ravens stuff for you right there. Dalton Schultz tweaked his knee during a Saturday practice, which must have been a walkthrough, right?
You would think. I don't think they're doing too much on Saturday before. I mean, I know they had a Sunday night game, but still, you would assume that that's a walkthrough.
Did he have a goose last week? And he played last week.
Yes, he played. I think he only had like 1 or 2 targets, though. Actually, I think he had 1. No, I don't remember.
I think he had one target and he was goosed. And then he wasn't on the injury report for the entire week. And then was a kind of a surprise. He did something to the knee again. And on Saturday, and just didn't play. It was a surprise. He was out. Next up, Hollywood Brown. This is one of the bigger ones. Hollywood Brown's suffered a potential season-ending foot injury in the Sunday loss to the Seahawks. And he's undergoing testing today. And we just got news that says maybe more in the range of 4 to 6 weeks. I thought I saw something like that. He's possibility goes on IR, but it might not be season-ending. Did you see that, Joe?
I did not see that, but I will take your word for it. And if that is the case, it kind of just makes it tricky with Hollywood Brown, because if they're thinking initially season ending and then it may be 4 to 6, odds are it's going to be closer to 6, and it could even be more. And just with where we already are in the season, I think we're in week 6 right now. That's a bulk of the season. That's like right before playoffs is when he comes back.
Yeah.
And I'll spoil the next one. They just traded for Robbie Anderson.
Yeah.
Rondale Moore's getting more involved. DeAndre Hopkins is going to be back. That just doesn't look great for the rest of the year, even if Hollywood Brown does end up coming back.
So it says right here that it's a small non-surgical fracture. Recovery time is about 6 weeks. That's what the newest thing is.
That's just
and then
recovery
Kingsbury
time.
said he was out indefinitely. So really, maybe not season ending, maybe fantasy season ending, but
I would assume so. Fantasy season ending.
Hollywood Brown probably going to be on a lot of IRs. Yeah. And then you said it, Robbie Anderson. It was, everyone saw it.
Quick.
So he was a goose too. But all right, a lot of breakdown here. Matt Rule was the coach at Temple before he came to the NFL. Robbie Anderson's a Temple guy, so I don't know if this adds into it, but there was a fight on the sideline between Steve Wilkes, the interim head coach for the Panthers, got into it with Robbie Anderson on the sideline. It was all, cameras, everything saw it. Robbie Anderson then was sent to the locker room, and it was, pretty. The Panthers already kind of on a fire sale. It looks like they're going to be trading guys. Anderson ends up being the first guy to go. Next day, traded to the Cardinals, like you said. Jameis Winston, it was said from his back and ankle, still not 100%. And, I don't know what to expect because I think Andy Dalton got banged up in the last game, too. So,
Taysom Hill, make him a quarterback.
Yep. Still in the Saints, Chris Olave cleared all NFL concussion protocol. They also expect Michael Thomas and Landry back, and they're in the Thursday Night Football game this week.
All three of their wide receivers. That was crazy, just to see. It was like Marquez Callaway, Tre'Quan Smith, all of them getting back in the fold because all three starting wide receivers in New Orleans are banged up, including their starting quarterback too. So it's just strange. Carson
Wentz fractured his ring finger. 4 to 6 week recovery is the timetable. Joe, tell me who's the backup in Washington. Are we going to get
Taylor Heineke? I would assume he's going to play. I mean, it's possible Sam Howell gets in there, but I'd be surprised just because, Heineke was the guy last year, so maybe he'll kind of spark up the squad, but I wouldn't expect to see Sam Howell unless Heineke struggles big time, considering I think everything that I was hearing preseason and into the season that Sam Howell was like give him this year and kind of see what happens for the future. And it was based upon how Carson Wentz went, like obviously it's all talk, but if Carson Wentz had a good year this year, which hasn't happened yet, then he might have been re-signed like for the future because they could drop his contract after this year. So I'm going to guess Taylor Heineke is going to step in for these next few weeks.
Kenny Pickett took a hit. He is in concussion protocol. I think you're going to get Mitch Trubisky next Sunday when the Steelers play.
Which is probably, it might not be better overall for the Steelers. Who knows? They did end up beating the Bucs, but
Bucs lost. Steelers didn't win.
Oh, I got you. But I was just going to say that I think Mitchell Trubisky helps out like Deontay Johnson, Pat Freiermuth, George Pickens. Like any of those guys that you were playing usually has just been Deontay and Pat Freiermuth. I think he helps those guys out because they were pretty decent when Mitchell was still the starter.
This news came out pretty much right after the end of Sunday Night Football when the Cowboys lost. Dak is expected back in Week 7. Anything, Joe? Nothing to add there?
Not necessarily. It's kind of a good game to come back for Dallas Cowboys. You'd hope. Cooper Rush had a great connection with CeeDee Lamb. So
he lost his first game.
And yeah, I know he did lose his first game, but I believe CeeDee Lamb didn't have that great of the first couple weeks of the season with Dak before he got injured. So you're hoping that doesn't fall apart, as well as you're hoping that Dak can kind of put a spark back in the running game by having the offense move a little bit better. Against Detroit, that's definitely a good matchup for him to come back. You would hope that he's able to knock some rust off against the Lions defense. And yeah, if Dalton Schultz ever comes back, you would assume, I know Dak and Dalton Schultz had a good connection as well. So if he's able to return at some point in the next couple weeks, you would assume that should be boosted up as well.
And this last piece of news kind of trickled out through the end of the week leading into the weekend. Cam Akers at first was dismissed, missed practice and dismissed for a personal matter. Then it came out that it was, I don't know. I don't even know how it came about, but it was not with the team. And then I believe Sunday morning it came out that there must have been some type of dispute because Cam Akers they are actively trying to trade him. The Rams are, and it's likely he will never play a snap for the Rams again. So,
yeah, I don't know we still don't know what the personal reasons are or what truly happened, but it certainly came out of nowhere. And Cam Akers is never going to play again for the Rams. To my understanding, that's what I saw in a lot of the quotes, that Cam Akers has likely played his last snap for LA. Something serious had to have happened. It hasn't been publicized yet, so we'll definitely be on the lookout for that. But Darrell Henderson, I guess, steps into that role, even though we'll get into it later when we get into the games. But there was a trio of running backs that got involved, actually.
And they all didn't do much.
No, Darrell Henderson did find the end zone, so that was nice. He had a decent fantasy day, but yeah.
I will say, just because of the Robbie Anderson thing, the Cam Akers likely to trade, and then just the Panthers overall selling. Trade deadline in the NFL is November 1st. Today is the 18th, so could be some movement coming up. I think in the past like 3 or 4 years, the NFL trade market has been a lot bigger than it used to be in the past. I just don't think there was that many in-season trades, but now teams seem to kind of sell in a season. Let's go to irrelevant TDs of the week, Joe.
You got it.
Who in the blue hell are you?
All right, in Baltimore, Kenyon Drake, 3.2% of leagues. He ripped off a big 30-yard touchdown, actually had like 119 yards on the ground, but he scores. J.K. Dobbins didn't. 3.2% of leagues. Thank you.
3.2% is a massive number on this list. When you
usually, yes.
Yeah.
In Chicago, Dante Pettis, second time on here, so he's
on
notice.
One more, and he's not allowed to be on here.
0.1% of leagues. Thank you, Dante Pettis. Here's a good one. Never heard of this guy in my life. In Atlanta, 0.0. Michael Pruitt. I think when they said his name fast, I thought it was Michael.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That's how you spell it. It's Michael.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
In New England, Tyquan Thornton, 0.6% of leagues. He's a rookie, I believe, and he's a real speedster.
Yes, he is a rookie.
Maybe more of a dynasty option, but Tyquan Thornton. There you go. How about Braxton Berrios for the Jets? 0.9% of leagues had a rushing touchdown.
I believe this is his second time. Well, no, I was going to say I believe this is his second time on this list as well.
I wanted to say also Tyquan Thornton, I think he had 2 touchdowns. I think he had a rushing and a receiving. So there you go. That's 12 points right there out of him.
Yeah, just with that.
Paris Campbell. This one was gross. I was listening. When I was driving back, I had like that SiriusXM station on. And the one guy on there is so funny. He said, and Paris Campbell, that is just disgusting.
Oh my God.
Gets it all the way down.
It is disgusting.
We've
been begging for Paris Campbell to be a thing for years.
1% of leagues. Indianapolis, let's stay in there. Jelani Woods, his second time on here, 0.4% of leagues.
It probably won't be his last, so he'll probably catch another one at some point.
He will. Here's a really gross one. JaMychal Hasty for the Jacksonville Jaguars, 0.0% of leagues. He had 1 carry for 61 yards, and that was the touchdown run.
Yeah, it was just it was a 3rd and 1, and he just, it was a 3rd and 1. It was like a stretch to the right side, and they just opened up a giant hole for him, and he shot right through it, and next thing you know, he's gone. Nobody even touched him. I mean, like you said, his 1 carry, and he took it to the house. So good for JaMychal Hasty. I don't really see it happening too much often anymore.
James Robinson and Travis Etienne did not find the end zone. Etienne had a little better day, but neither of them find the end zone. But JaMychal Hasty, one touch on the day, goes all the way. This one is mind-boggling. I heard this one almost instantly on the radio when I was going up, and I texted the Soup, just his name, Rashid Shaheed. Now, if you notice on the thing, I don't even have 0.0 because on the website, they just have a dash. I don't even know if this guy was in the system.
Oh my God. Is he like the 6th string running back? How is he on the active roster?
If it's 0.0, they will put 0.0. He didn't even have anything. He just had a dash. So Rashid Shaheed gets a big touchdown run.
Do you think he just came off the practice squad or something?
Maybe. I've never heard of this guy.
Not a big enough name, I guess, to get
Alvin Kamara certainly
mentioned.
Won't score.
No.
Here's this guy seems to be Cooper Kupp Jr. They like to give him the ball a lot. Is it Ben Skowronek?
I think it's Skowronek.
Skowronek? I've seen his name, never heard it. It's 1.1% of leagues.
Skowronek.
Ben Skowronek. And then in Dallas, Jake Ferguson, 0.6% of leagues. Awesome.
I don't even see that happen. I fell asleep at halftime because the Eagles. I always fall asleep at halftime on the late night game.
And that was the irrelevant TDs of the week, Joe. This is where you like to shine in your soups of the week.
You like that? You like that?
Yes, indeed. Throughout these soups and Tylers, some of them may be on the wrong side, but all of our starts and sits of the week have made the list.
Yes.
In some way, shape, or form, they have made the list. Starting off with the soups of the week, we do have 3 people in our league scoring format that broke 30 fantasy points PPR, of course.
All first-round wide receivers, too.
Yep. These dudes paid off this week. Jamar Chase. That Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow connection in the in New Orleans, the Superdome, just different. Stephon Diggs and Tyreek Hill. Just, you love to see those 3 names up there. You'd love to see Cooper Kupp, surprisingly not up there. Devontae Adams. Trying to think of the other guys that went in the first round. Those are probably all it.
All those guys had good weeks, I'd say.
Yes, yes. Devontae was on bye, but the other guys did as well. Brandon Ayuk finds this list, found the end zone twice. Deion Jackson, your smash RB2 technically, but really was your RB1 on the week. Fills in. Michael Pittman, another.
He was the RB1 all around the league.
Was he? Oh, that's awesome. Michael Pittman had like 10 or 11 catches over 100 yards. Didn't find the end zone. He did get one called back. Doo-doo Sniff Schuster. That's what we were calling him on Sunday. You missed it.
Yeah, I guess I did.
You missed it. We were calling him Doo-doo Sniff, and then he broke off that big touchdown, and then we're like, well, damn. But, yeah, Doo-doo Sniff Schuster is his new name. He was sitting on Bryce's bench, actually, with like 25 points. That could have been a difference maker in our matchup. The first guy in our start sits, your start of the week at the running back position, Ramondre Stevenson, was in my RB slot on my team, so I loved that. He had a great day, found the end zone twice. Mike Gesicki.
Gross.
Yeah, gross. The gritty that he was hitting of just terrible always. Mark Andrews on this list, just no surprise. Chase Claypool. This has to be his first time as a Super of the Week. Congratulations. Yeah. Christian McCaffrey, no stranger. Leonard Fournette, no stranger. George Kittle. The only reason he made this list is because somehow he had a forced fumble. I don't remember ever seeing it.
Is that what happened?
Yes, because he had 16 fantasy points in regular PPR, but he had a tackle +1 and a forced fumble +4. So that was 5 extra points.
And that probably only happens in 21. Our league.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was mentioning that. And I didn't see it, so I don't know. Tyquan Thornton, we mentioned him in Irrelevant Touchdown, so yay. Breece Hall just been getting it done. The best, probably him and Dameon Pierce, obviously the two rookie running backs that have really been getting it done. Breece Hall right now has the edge for sure. Kenyon Drake, we already mentioned that. Really stepped up with J.K. Dobbins having some tightness. Dalvin Cook found the end zone late. This was 3.5 quarters.
I know. I heard it. I think Dalvin Cook had under 10 total yards going into
and then he broke off a big run for a touchdown and got him up. Travis Kelce, no stranger to this list. He gets it done every single week. And then we have our top quarterbacks of the week. Some names you probably weren't expecting. A couple of good names on here. Joe Burrow comes in. He's worth Michael Gallup, the number 1 quarterback on the week. Definitely worth Michael Gallup straight up. Matt Ryan makes this list on Bryce's bench as well. There was no way he was starting him. He has Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen, definitely no stranger to this list. Always on it. Trevor Lawrence makes the list, and Marcus Mariota, 2 guys you probably weren't expecting.
Dude, fuck Marcus Mariota.
I know. It is gross.
Because they even said it when I was listening, going back up there. Marcus Mariota, after 2 horrendous weeks, so everybody dropped him. And now people are those same people who don't have quarterbacks are going to go try to pick him up. And you know what he's going to do next week? Because mainly he's on here for his rushing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He only had like 130 passing yards or something.
I don't
terrible.
And he threw a passing touchdown to Kyle Pitts.
Yes, he did.
Kyle Stinky Pitts for the first time on U.S. soil scores a touchdown. But Mariota, next week rushing wise, he'll have like 7 carries for 20 yards. So screw Marcus Mariota.
And it was against the Niners. It was a weird day for that. And now we're gonna get into some poopy pants Tyler's of the weeks.
Yeah, Mo, that team sure did suck last night. They just plain sucked. I've seen teams suck before, but they were the suckiest bunch of sucks that ever sucked.
I'm going to go ahead and skip to the second one here. I changed it up a little bit because, thank you. Thank you. Jackson gave me props when I was with him. Nick Chubb, Tyler's of the week, put up 8 fantasy points. I told you that New England was going to be the one to finally shut him down. 8 fantasy points, did not find the end zone. It's not like Kareem Hunt benefited from Nick Chubb having a down week either. He only had like 1 fantasy point. He's also down on this list. So yeah, Nick Chubb, he was my sit of the week. It was a weird call. I was not really expecting it to follow through just because he is the RB1 on the year. He might not be after that, but I'm not certain. But yeah, Nick Chubb, 8 fantasy points, sit of the week, gasp. AJ Dillon, my co-host Nick Tatsoni, sit of the week, also just has not been getting it done. It's like 5 weeks of single digits for AJ Dillon. He's like cemented himself on the Tylers of the week. Sooner or later, Aaron Jones also did not have a good week. Did he have single digits? Yes, he is. He's on this list. J.K. Dobbins didn't play the first half, so yeah. Conk's on this list. I don't think he goose, though. He did have 1 catch.
One catch for 16 yards.
Yeah, so he got you 2 points.
That's why I didn't put goose. I should have put Conk. 1.6.
Deontay Johnson makes the list. Jeff Wilson, 0.5. I mean, he fumbled early and then just a weird game. The Niners were
I think he
down
had
the whole
35
time.
yards on the fumble.
But he had like 7 carries because they were passing the whole time, and Kyle Juszczyk was in for like so many plays. Clyde, back-to-back weeks of not finding the end zone results in him on the Chargers of the week again. Yeah, big time. So shout out Bryce for trading Derrick Henry to get Clyde in return. Mike Evans, Tyler Higbee. Yeah, obviously that wasn't the whole trade on the Clyde thing.
Well, no, I'm talking about Mike Evans.
Yeah.
Mike Evans, I don't know what's up with the Bucs, man.
I don't know.
We'll get to that later. We'll talk about that later.
Tyler Higbee, his first actual down week of the season, I think. He's been pretty consistent, but Skoranek kind of picked up the Tyler Higbee role, it seemed like, almost in this game. And Antonio Gibson on this list, it's I think starting next week, like this is the last week I put him on here. Yeah, he's not even going to be worthy of this list because he's just not the guy anymore. I mean, it showed completely in that Thursday night game. Eno Benjamin, one of my starts of the week, following by DK Metcalf, one of your starts of the week. The script was there for both of these guys. It just didn't get done. That's what I'm going to say. That was a weird game.
I have 2 screens right next to me when I'm doing the post-game show, switching off. And we set it up where the one screen I just put on red zone. And the second screen is like the call thing. By the way, we got 67 angry calls about the Ravens.
I'm sure.
It was hilarious.
Blew another lead. Crazy.
But anyways, I was watching most of that game, and I don't know, the Seattle, did they score a touchdown? Yeah, Kenneth Walker did.
Yes, Kenneth Walker looked like the truth.
There was just nothing going on in that Seattle, Arizona looked miserable.
I don't know what's up with them either. Don't let Kyler get off script. Let me tell you, that's what we were saying a lot yesterday too. Because when he's scrambling, he's great, but I don't know what's going on with that offense. They can't do a thing. And I mean, Seattle was moving the ball very well, but then they would get caught up, and Jason Myers would clean it up. Keeping it rolling, Raheem Mostert's on this list. Another weird game. They didn't decide to start scoring that entire game, the Vikings-Dolphins, until the third quarter.
You know what's crazy about that is when I was driving, I was listening, and they said that Skylar Thompson got hurt, and Teddy Bridgewater came in to back him up. We didn't even know if Teddy Bridgewater was cleared or not.
Yeah.
But he was. They just decided not to start him.
Yep, they cleared him, and I think they were just kind of playing the scared game. I mean, rightfully so, of not wanting to injure another quarterback coming off a concussion protocol like that. So yeah, that was strange. But Skylar and Teddy both ended up giving great days for Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. So, but yeah, Raheem Mostert. By the way,
both Tyreek and Waddle left that game and then came back.
Did they really? I didn't see
I think
that.
Tyreek definitely had a great day. Waddle,
it was so
I think
quiet,
he's fine, but Waddle's been banged up for a while now. Just something to keep looking at.
Tyreek Hill had a very quiet, like 10 for 150 or something. Terry McLaurin, Drake London, James Robinson, all on this list, just kind of MIA. Garrett Wilson, Kareem Hunt. We already mentioned the running backs in Cleveland.
So I put Garrett Wilson in here real quick just because
he wasn't in the starting lineup too.
He's going to be out of this. He wasn't in a starting lineup of ours, but I think just because of what he's done, his talent, first round, he'll be in people's lineups. But it wasn't even just like I think he was 1.5, 1.6 is what he had.
Yeah.
So again, this is probably his last week. You can't start him. I don't think you can start any of them.
Breece Hall has just kind of turned into this Jets offense, to be completely honest. Already mentioned Aaron Jones. Curtis Samuel on Thursday night threw up a dud. Tyler Lockett was MIA again. David Montgomery, another single-digit running back. DJ Moore, my other start of the week. The guy's pretty good at football. I'm going to throw that out there.
I don't know if he'll be a Panther by
who knows
week 8.
I mean, I guess it's a good thing that Robbie Anderson just got traded. You would hope and assume that DJ Moore gets involved more, but
maybe DJ Moore has to get kicked off the sideline next week.
Maybe
and the next day he'll get traded.
But DJ Moore's probably like, damn, I wish I was traded to Arizona.
Damn, that's all I had to do.
Yeah. DJ Moore, 3 catches, 7 yards. I mean, they throw the ball to him in a screen game like 3 times, I think, every single time it was. And he just got no help on the side and would get hit immediately. Just crazy. And Dallas Goedert rounds out this list. Kind of one of, I think, only his second single-digit game of the year, but he doesn't kill you. I mean, it's a tight end. Dallas Goedert's been getting it done. The bottom QBs this week, Carson Wentz on Thursday, talked about it. Matthew Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, Geno Smith, and Tom Brady. So I know that we like to usually do the guys that are probably started. So I
Yeah, well, there
don't.
was a guy started in our league that I decided not to put in there. Zach Wilson was started, and
Yeah,
I was.
that's fair. Tom ended up with 13 for me. I can't remember exactly what Gino got. Do you remember? I think it
Gino was like at
was he
11 or
single
12.
digits? Oh, okay.
No, I think Gino was at 11 or 12. Stafford was at like I think 12 or 13.
Yes, all these guys were just
Kind of like
over
right
the
there. But
double
to be honest with
digits.
you, a lot of the league was just up at like 15, like Kyler, Lamar,
Yeah,
they were only at like 15,
Jalen
16.
Hurts didn't
Yeah.
didn't get to 20 either.
So,
Yeah, those round out the worst QBs of the week for the Tylers of the week. And I mean, as long as it's cool with you, I'll just stay within the league and I'll hop straight
yes.
over to our fantasy matchup recap. Coming in first, this is the first matchup, and this player is now in sole first, or most likely in sole first, I should say. Jackson Edelman, now 5-1, was facing up against Soup and Sammy's, who were finally seeing each other for the first time in a
Oh.
long time, but definitely the first time since they've become co-owners again. Uh, this one's wrapped up. Soup was looking for a big Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders stack in the Sunday Night Football game to even give him a shot, but they weren't able to catch up to what Jackson was already at. Soup ended up finishing with 114, led by Tyreek Hill and Dalvin Cook. Those are really his two big guys here. That was 50 of his 114 points. On the flip side, Jackson had a 0 touchdowns on his roster. Yeah, Kyler didn't even throw a touchdown. Wow. Okay, that's crazy. Kyler didn't
Yeah.
even throw a touchdown. 0 touchdowns. I had to double check that. And he's at 120. He still has Derwin James play tonight. We do individual players on defense. So, I mean, nothing crazy. Nothing jumps out to you, but just a few solid performance, a couple duds. George Kittle had 21 with the fumble and the tackle, like I was saying. So that was kind of strange. And then Alvin Kamara doesn't find the end zone, still has 18 points. Kyler and Chris Godwin both with 15 points each. So that leads Jackson to now sole first place at 5-1. Soup and Sammy's drops down to 2-4. And I believe I'll be playing Soup and Sammy's next week, actually. And they have quite the list of buys. We'll get into
Oh,
that.
you sound so sad.
No, definitely not sad. I'm just kind of spewing it out there. Next, we do have
Oh, real
Cam
quick
Smith.
though.
Yes.
Soup was riding that Devin Duvernay with Bateman out. Duvernay, a real stinker, 1 for 14. The
Yeah.
Ravens wide receivers all together yesterday had 5 catches.
Crazy. Just it's all Mark Andrews. He had double that.
And I'll say this popped up earlier. I didn't put it in news, but Deshaun Jackson was at the facility today.
I did see that.
I was saying it yesterday. I don't know what they're gonna do, whether they make a big trade or maybe someone like in the person, like maybe someone gets cut. They're gonna need to shake up something, and we can talk. I can get more into it later, but I do think something will change because if Bateman's out, you cannot take 5 receptions from your entire wide receiver core. Anyways,
No, I'm with you. I hear you. Next here, we do have Sam Smith, who is now going to be 2-4 versus Spano, now 3-3 after Sam Smith will get the victory. Spano did not crack the 100 number on the week.
and he got lucky because Najee again looked bad, but he had the one
Yeah.
early touchdown reception. Besides that, I mean, Najee again a bad week.
Exactly. A third of these points were from Josh Allen at his quarterback position. That's the only guy. Micah Parsons, his only other double-digit guy besides Najee. Sam Smith, not his greatest week ever, but solid week nonetheless, highlighted by McCaffrey, Barkley. I'll even throw Amari Cooper on there. He found the end zone. And Brees Hall in the flex. He still has not had Justin Herbert play yet and is at 109, which is already secured a victory. Like I said, moves him to 2-4, knocks Spano down to 3-3. Next, we have Derek Titano. This was the house matchup, Derek versus Andy. Derek will move to 4-2 after defeating Andy, who will now move to 2-4.
Andy kills another quarterback.
Yeah, he did. He does kill another quarterback. This time it's a finger. Usually it's an ankle for him, or last time it was a head actually with Tua. This time it's a finger, so he's getting his way around. This was a tight one. It wasn't supposed to be projection-wise, but Andy's team, nonetheless, after a dud from Carson Wentz, kind of fought back. His running backs really hung him out to dry, though. Derek highlighted by Joe Mixon, Travis Kelce, and what's his first name? TJ Edwards, also with 16 points in the IDP. He does have Hollywood, so that's going to be a question mark going forward. Devin Singletary also got a lot of work and looked really good, to be honest. He did not find the end zone, though. So Derek finishes with 116, and that was enough to beat Andy, who finished with 109. He had Carson Wentz, Kareem Hunt, Aaron Jones all in single digits, but then had a solid performances from Michael Pittman, Alan Lazard, Zach Ertz, and Devonta Smith. So, I mean, if he just has a quarterback, you would assume he wins this week, or just some sort of help from the running back. But shout out Derek. Guy's 4-2, started off 0-2. He's the best 0-2 fantasy manager ever. That's what he likes
Lock
to say.
him in for 0-2 every single year.
Yeah. And Andy will move to 2-4. Next, we do have
I think
Jake
Andy
Wills.
was 2-0.
He might have been. Then he got some injuries
for
sure.
So you have a guy who's on a 4-game win streak and a guy who's on a 4-game losing streak.
Next, we do have Jake Wills, who's been also riding a high.
Yes.
He's been just throwing up some great weeks. He's not finished yet, but his opponent is finished. And Jake Wills will move to 4-2 after defeating Andrew Atkins, who will now move to 3-3. Jake Wills does still not have his first round pick, Austin Eckler, to play. So you got to be happy when you can just secure a win without that. Atkins finished at 128 on the week, and Wills is already at 135 without Eckler. Wills, an average day from Lamar, 16 points, kind of below average, to be honest. But he did have Leonard Fournette and Adam Thielen. He's finally done it. He found the end zone, hooked on the Thielen.
In his lineup.
Back. Adam Thielen, I know. That's what I was saying. Adam Thielen is in Jake Wills' lineup. Hooked on the Thielen is so back. He also got a great plug and play from Robert Tonyan. I was playing against him in a different league, and all of a sudden 10 catches on 12 targets comes out of nowhere for 90 yards. So I was kind of pissed off about that. Gabe Davis also in the flex.
Gabe Davis, the 3-catch, man.
Yeah.
No more, no less.
Finds a deep touchdown, So that's going to be a dub for Jake Wills with 135 already without Eckler, like I was mentioning. Atkins had Jamar Chase, Deebo Samuel, and he had Jordan Hicks have 11 tackles and a sack. Also, those are his double-digit guys. Aaron Rodgers had 11, but no reason to highlight that. And Nick Chubb, my sit of the week, was indeed in his lineup with 8 points. So, yeah, Jake Wills 4-2, Andrew Atkins now 3-3. So the next two matchups are mine and yours, Testoni. I'm up against Bryce. I'm at 118 currently. Bryce is at 88 currently. We both have 2 players left. So I have Cortland Sutton and Gerald Everett, and Bryce has Melvin Gordon and Mike Williams. So basically, I need Sutton and Everett to not be outscored by 30 points by Melvin Gordon and Mike Williams.
Yeah. He's chasing 30, and both of you have 2 guys left who.
Yeah.
I mean,
basically 2 versus 2. I'm up 30 at the moment. See what happens.
And it's looking good for you, Joe. Let's just say that.
I'm highlighted by new quarterback Tom Brady. Not really highlighted, not a good day, I'm putting him in there. Yeah. Ramondre Stevenson, 25.1, 2 touchdowns. Love that. Stephon Diggs, 31.8. Love to see that. Darrell Henderson, I'll give him a little sneaky flex play. He got in the lineup there, as well as Jeff Wilson put up 0.5 fantasy points. So thank you for that. Bryce, Patty did get 21, although he had 2 interceptions. And then his only other guy, Mark Andrews, really 24.6. He has Clyde, Mike Evans, Tyler Higbee all put up single digits for him this week. And lastly, La Familia Testoni is going to get a win as long as Jerry Jeudy and Brandon McManus do not die on the sidelines. Diego is done. Oh, by the way, I'm 3-2 and Bryce is 2-3. So if projections tell the truth, I would go to 4-2 and Bryce would go to 2-4. If they don't, I'm 3-3 and Bryce would be 3-3 as well. But Diego is done. 107.8. He cannot score any more points. He does not have a 20-point score on his team, actually. Cooper Kupp leads the way with 16.7. Travis Etienne with a decent day, 12.8. You got to be happy when it's Travis Etienne with that. CeeDee Lamb, 13.7. Irv Smith found the end zone for him. And on the flip side, Joe Burrow, the man worth Michael Gallup for Testoni, who is chasing 0.7 points. Joe Burrow puts up 35.5 for him. Deion Jackson puts up RB1 numbers on the week, 28.1. A.J. Brown finally has a good day for you since you traded for him, 17.7. You go ahead and slap him on the bench next week now. Devin White found double digits for you in the IDP world. So as long as you still have Jerry Jeudy and Brandon McManus to go, as long as those guys can put up 0.8 for you, you will turn into 1-5, Nick Testoni. And Diego will go on a 2-game skid, drop into 4-2 as long as that comes true.
And don't let me get hot.
Don't let them boys get hot. Let me tell you. I will go through just kind of standings, even though it's not set in stone. Uh, we got Jackson up top 5-1 with most likely Diego dropping to 4-2, like I mentioned. Which would bring a few guys to 4-2, which would probably bring me, Derek, Wills, and Diego all to 4-2. As well as 3-3 guys, we have Atkins, Spano. Bryce would go to 2-4. Atkins, Spano, I think, are the only 3-3 guys. Dropping down to 2-4 would be Sam Smith, Andy Collins, Bryce Phobel, as long as projection comes true, like I mentioned. And then we will no longer have a 0 in the win column as long as this comes true. I keep saying it because you never know.
I'm prepared
for my
for it to be a
matchup and
loss.
your matchup, I keep saying it, would drop to 1-5 down at the bottom there, but still scrapping his way back.
Well, way to get through that, Joe. A lot of stuff.
Thank you.
Let's hit a quick break and then we'll do what we do best. We'll recap Sunday.